Good morning. Welcome back. We're in the shop today. Xander is here, so he's doing filters and getting our sprayer serviced. We're going to do some washing and cleaning in here today and just keep this project progressing a little bit. We need to go through and see, after we get it cleaned up, what all else needs to be done to it, what we can fix and clean up and paint. And Dad told me to paint the whole booms. Well, that's not going to happen, but we can clean it up a little bit. So the sprayer here is mostly the same. We do use some carbon charcoal filters for the cab, the one that goes in behind the seat, and that one that he's putting in now that pulls fresh air in. That sort of takes any of the chemicals or anything that might be in the air out before it gets into the cab. So putting those on, got the engine air filters there. We've got the engine oil filter in here. These are the fuel filters. We're not going to change these because we changed these in the season this year. They don't have that many hours on them. Somewhere on this sprayer, we have a hole in the top of our fuel tank. We're going to try and hunt that down while we've got this in here too. But if the sprayer sits outside when it rains, it gets water in the fuel tank, and then it gets caught in those filters. And a lot of times we can drain it. Sometimes you just got to replace them. So, yeah, that's super fun, but we don't know where it's coming from. So we've got a scope, I don't know what you would call it, a camera on camera with a cable on it or something, so you can look into tight places. We're going to see if we can't get in under the cab there and figure out where that leak is. There's a couple hydraulic filters underneath that he's getting changed. We change those every year on the sprayer, because it's hydrostatic driven system. You got to change hydraulic oil or filters on this every year. We don't do the oil, but we do the filters. And what else? I think that's it. Oh, the air dryer. So this has a air brake or air system on it, not really for the brakes, but so it's got an air dryer. Change that as well. So look at that. Looks like we could use a new sight tube. Let's see, I think we've got some of that somewhere. Here's our inspection camera. Just a power button. Maybe not the nicest one in the world, but let's see if we can't find a hole in our fuel tank up here.
Well, I can tell how this is going to go. It's not. This isn't going to work at all. And we can kind of see in here, but we really can't tell what we're looking at all. And getting it around into places, I don't know. Just figure something else out. Problem is, so this is the fuel tank right here, right? There's the fill, and it sits in here kind of behind and under the cab. There's no real good way to get to it. But we're getting water in it somehow. I don't know what to do about that.
I can tell you what we've done about it. We park it inside when it's going to rain. That's what we do. Could paint our cab roof again. I did that a couple years ago. Apparently the paint didn't stick. It's peeling. I got a big crack in it. We took it down and repaired that, and that's mostly better. It's cracked again there where the mirrors mount. Just trade it. I just want to get rid of it. Came out to the barn to see if Dad was out here, and he's not. But check on his progress. He's got his beam up there. Getting there. Got a new post put in here. I told you the other day he was going to make some I-joists. Let me show you what I mean by that. So you guys know what a normal I-joist is, right? Where you got like it's not even a 2x4, but a board on the top and the bottom, and then it's got a groove routed into it, and they glue in some OSB between them. Make a I-joist out of wood. Well, Dad has decided he needs to make some of these for his floor joists across the top of that beam that he's putting in there. But he's not making them like they normally would make them. And he's not going to buy them because, well, why would we do that? No, he's going to make them. And he's going to make them like the strongest I-joists that have ever been made in the history of the world. Because he has big long 2x4s here. I don't even know how long these ones are. 16 at least. And he is trying to figure out how he's going to get his groove routed in there or cut in there, which he's getting. And then he's going to take this 2x8 of solid red oak, stand it up in there, put one on the top, and make I-joists out of that. And yeah, this barn will stand forever. Yeah, just measured. A true 2x8, 16 feet, 2 inches long. And this was his prototype, or is his prototype. He's trying to figure out. So he's going to make this groove and then glue this into there on, top and the bottom. And then use those to support his flooring. Should work. That sun is deceiving because it's windy and cold and nasty out here. It's not fun outside. It's going to get worse, too. Alright, Xander has moved on to the washing phase. So, let him work out here. This is going to take a little while. There's a lot to this. It's not a combine, but it's also more than a tractor. So, we just got back from lunch. Xander got this washed first time over here. Got the heavy dirt off. And we got to put new tires on the front, so we're going to go ahead and take the front 10 fenders off. Some of the shielding and stuff around here just to make that job easier. So we're going to just take these off here. There's a bracket that mounts on here to be able to jack the sprayer up anyways. So we can get those tires changed a little bit easier. And then I think we're going to go ahead and take these plastic shields off from the wheel motor shields so that we can get in there. Yeah, he's got this one off over here. So we can get in there and clean that stuff out a little bit. There's some grease zerks that are easier to get to once you take those off. So one thing at a time, but we'll get her cleaned up. There's a fender. There's some dirt in behind here. We're going to pull that cover off. Just keep cleaning some stuff up a little bit. So sitting here working on the computer a little bit more this afternoon, doing some stuff. One of the things that Dad and I have been talking about is trying to track some of our soil test levels, nutrient tests and stuff over time. We've been working with our crop consultant now that we are since 2017. So we're starting to get multiple years of data on some of these fields. And we're just trying to look for trends. Now, we have soil test data going back far before when we started working with our current consultant, but it's all in the same format since 2017. That's what all of these books are here, is all the soil test results and recommendations and stuff. And so I thought I'm going to go through and see if we can't figure out how to make a spreadsheet and track some of this. So I've got a couple of fields done I've been working on. I think I'll show you this. Maybe somebody has a better idea, better system for this. There's probably some computer software. Heck, John, your Ops Center might do this for me. But I figured out how to do it in Google Sheets. And I don't know, it's kind of cool data. So take a look. I'm just going to record from the phone rather than screen record. It's easier. All right, so this is field 1-1, which is this field right outside the barn, south of the farm here. So just kind of started with the home farm. We have 3 zones in this field, zone A, B, and C, and then I made an average. And that tells you how many acres are in each zone, 11.75, 6.3, 5.6, we'll call it, for a total of 24.65. Okay, we have soil tests from 2018, 20, 22, and then this past year in 25. And so I went through and I kind of mapped out some of the, not all of, but most of the important things that we look at on soil tests. So we have our CEC, pH, organic matter, phosphorus, calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, base saturations of calcium, magnesium, and potassium. Now there's more on these tests. I'll just pull one up. This is not the same field, but we have other things on here such as estimated nitrogen release. We have soluble sulfur. We have some micros and some other, base saturation, sodium and hydrogen, and then we've got borons in these micros. I did not put any of that stuff in there, but we have that data. But anyway, so I put all of that stuff in, then I made it average, and I did a weighted average based on the number of acres in each zone. So, for instance, in 2025, the CEC average for this field was 11.53. Theoretically, your CECs, your pHs shouldn't really change over time. That's going to be due to some sampling differences and stuff over, the course of just pulling different cores in different years from different little areas within the zones. But then we can take all of that and we can kind of chart out each one of those things. So we'll start with this one up here. This is the CEC, change over time, and then we have zone A, B, C, and an average. And you can see how those have changed. And then we can look at our pH. Basically, we want our pH to be between, we're going to say 6 and 7, but really between 6.4 and 6.8 would be ideal. So you can see we've been above 6 the whole time. I have to change the scale to put in a 7 there so we could see that, but not too bad there. Look at organic matter, which again shouldn't really change. We for some reason had a drop off in 2022 and then recovered a little bit in 24. I can't explain that. And then we start getting into the actual nutrient side of stuff, the phosphorus and how that has changed over time. This zone came down and then it's come back up. This zone has come up and then come back down. And it's just kind of interesting to watch that. Sodium, we want the sodium to be really basically as low as possible. I don't know why it crashed from 18 to 20, but it did. Calcium, the raw calcium and numbers and stuff like that don't mean a ton to me. I look more at the base saturation, but you can certainly see those. So if we look at like magnesium here, these are the raw parts per million. Here's the base saturation. Anywhere from 12.5 up to probably 17. We can see the numbers up there, but just kind of looking at the trends over time. And then the base saturation of potassium, I want that to be above a 3. 4 would be better. That field's not there, right? But it's hard to move those sometimes. So, and then there's our calcium base saturation that we would like to be above a 75. So that was a pretty simple, fairly easy field to do because, well, there was only 3 zones. The other field I did was our irrigated field. This one has 16 zones, zones A through S, 174 acres total. And just for your viewing pleasure, you can see how much data there is there. It's a lot. But we just look at our charts and kind of see the trends. And so you can see we have a much wider range on our CECs. Pretty tight grouping for the pH, which is good. That one zone, a couple of zones got a little high. A couple of them dropped off after this last test, so we put a little lime up there to fix that. Organic matter is all over the board. This kind of follows the CEC because CEC is affected by, that stands for cation exchange capacity. That is basically the texture of your soil, coarser, finer, sandy, heavy ground. And you can see we have CECs in this field that range from, let's see, in 2023, last time we had a soil test, which this will be due for a test this year, the low 6.21, it looks like. It was a 5.16 in 2018 in that zone. So we go from a low CEC as a 5 or a 6 to a high over here of 21. This one was a 25. Zone O was a 25 in 2018. It's a 21.89 now. Is that the highest? It looks like the highest. So in one field, we go anywhere from, depending on which year you want to look at, a 5 to a 25 or a 6 to a 22, basically. So it's quite a range and different textures and stuff. And that affects the organic matter because then our organic matter, we can range from a 1.6, 1.7 up to a 5. So yeah, that can vary quite a bit. Phosphorus, for whatever reason, we had this one zone that spiked way up and then it's come back down. I wonder if it's as simple as they caught a prill of a fertilizer in a sample. Of course, they shouldn't have because of the timing of the sampling and stuff, but you just never know. Maybe it got into an old starter band or something on one test, on one core. Sodium levels, again, came down and then kind of recovered a little bit. I don't know if that's good or bad. Calcium is all over the board. Magnesium is all over the board. We look at our base saturations, and yeah, they're kind of all over the place. I love seeing some of these high potassium base saturations, but it's easy to make that on the sand. It's harder to do that on the heavy ground. It's much more consistent on the lower end. And we are rising. General trend is up. So the black line on all of these is the average. So if you kind of look at that, that's trending in the right direction. We like seeing that. Overall potassium levels are up. Phosphorus levels have overall been a little bit down, but we're still about a 50 average. So anyway, I thought that was kind of cool. I don't know if this is data that we're going to actually do anything with or just kind of fun to look at. It does take a little bit of time to put together, so it's not something I'm going to do for every field. I can promise you that. All right, well, we were just looking over the sprayer, and we got a little more washing to do out here. I'm trying to really get this cleaned up and get things like that residue off of there and that residue and everything else. So it's going to take a little more time than what Xander put into it earlier, which is, you know, we're just figuring it out. So that's okay, but we got a little ways to go on this yet. I noticed on the other side here, and even just like, I don't know, we should be able to get that off of these booms, right? We might have to do a little scrubbing and stuff. Here, this, I want to get all of this stuff off. So, yeah, we're going to keep working on this and keep going here, trying to clean some of this residue off and have him get the ladder so we can get up higher on the back of the boom there. There's a bunch of grease and dirt and just crap. It'll take some time. It is, however, a one-person job, and I am not that person, so that's okay. I was looking through some of the comments on the video from yesterday with the trials and stuff, and somebody asked about an infinity trial. Kind of forgot about that one, so I looked into it. I've got some results. Let's look at them. So that trial was in this field, which was our best corn, overall best corn. So there was about 17 acres, it looks like I applied it on. And the different rates here, the blue and the yellow, we did this. It was put in my in-furrow starter, and we did 4 gallons on some and 5 gallons on the other. I think what happened was I put it in, and we were running out. Wasn't going to have enough to finish the field, so I cut the rate from 5 gallons to 4 gallons to finish, and then we turned it back up when I realized that I had enough. That's my guess here. But anyway, that's where it went, and so I highlighted out this block, and now we can look at untreated 5-gallon rate, 4-gallon rate, and see what the yields difference did in this block. We come down here. Here's our target rate, 5, 4, and unavailable. And so in the subfield, we were 253 on the 5-gallon, 252 in the 4-gallon, and the unavailable was 251. Now the unavailable still got the starter. It got the regular in-furrow, just without that infinity in it. So 251, 252, and 253. Is that a win? That's probably a win. A bushel or two. I don't remember or know what that product costs to know whether that's an economic win or not. But yeah, it was slightly better there. I would call that a yield win, fair comparison. I would have to look up a label and be able to remember what exactly the Infinity is. It's a nutrient product. I believe it some sort of biological maybe or something to help break phosphorus down, make it more available to the plants throughout the growing season. That's my thoughts. So maybe it won. Similar to the source thing, except for it's put on through the fertilizer instead of foliarly, kind of, I think, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, it's cold out. It's going to get colder out here over the next week or so. I need to make sure that I'm not going to run out of propane in my house, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to go address that situation. I got to find a hitch receiver for a pickup somewhere around here. And make sure my tank doesn't go empty. All right, well, I can't find a hitch receiver. Dad's got one in the blue truck there, but he's got it hooked up to that trailer, and I don't want to undo it. I've got a tri-ball mount one in my black truck, but that ain't going to do me any good. And Phil's got one in his truck that's got a ball or something, and I'm not taking it out of Phil's truck. So it appears I need to buy some hitch receivers. To be fair, a couple of them got stolen with my truck this summer, and that's why I'm missing them. But oh yeah, I'm gonna need the loader anyway to get my propane delivery device unburied. We need some air in the tires. While I'm down here with the loader tractor, we'll scrape a little snow out of the driveway before we get a bunch more snow, it sounds like. Anyway,
my tank was at 20%. We would have been fine for a while yet.
Well, I keep going for home and forgetting to wrap up videos, so I figured I'd throw a little conclusion on the end of this one here. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. We'll probably be back in the shop tomorrow again. This cold weather is just kicking my butt, and I don't care to do anything. I'm being extremely lazy. I don't want to be outside. I don't have that much to do in the shop. So I think in the morning I might run to Brian and see if we can't go to the town and see if I can't find that engine for that farm all. And maybe we'll work on that project a little bit. We also might work in the seed warehouse some. Keep working on that ceiling down there. We can turn the heat on in there. It's out of the wind. It's not horrible. So that'll work. We do have a lot of seed coming in the next week. So we're going to run out of space in there pretty quickly, I think. But it'll be all right. Anyway, have a great night. We'll see you guys tomorrow.